takes a minute. Thank you all so much for being here. It's great to see your smiling faces out here. So last week I concluded with what brings the most joy. The most joy. And it was just about deciding that you are going to bring the most joy into your life by asking yourself for everything that you do. Because joy, it's higher than love. To just have the energy and the emotion of joy. And we get to have, we make that choice to have joy in our lives. And to think about what brings me joy in every single moment. In every single moment, what brings us joy? We get to decide that based on who we are, who we say we are, how we show up in our lives. And then we do the things that allow us to do those things that we say it's who we are. And so if that's aligned with who we say we are, and we look at what brings me the most joy, based on who I say I am, I'm love, I love my family, I love talking with spirit, all of those things, then you're going to have a great and joyous life. So that's what brings the most joy, is knowing that. So today I want to ask you the question, what's it to you? What's it to you? And that is about all the stories we tell. About so many. You know what? We should all be writers. Not kidding. For the stories we have going on in our heads all the time, we could write all kinds of great little short stories all the time. Jim and I we were heading home last week, and there was somebody just zooming on the freeway. This is my favorite stuff, talk about traffic. Just zooming, and it was crowded. You know, it's on the 30th, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 1 o'clock, whatever time it was. And so it's just crowded, and this guy was just zooming through the traffic. And we looked at him, I don't even know if it was a guy, it could have been a girl driving, I don't know. But we just looked at, they went on past, looked at the little brake lights, and we just started telling stories about it. The wife is in the back seat having the baby. That's what's happening. They got to get to the hospital very quickly. The head's crowning. That's why they're going so fast. Just making up stuff. And the reason why we were doing that, just so we would relax about it. Just don't need to be upset. We don't know. The point of us doing that was we don't know what's going on in that car. We don't know what's happening or why they need to get where they're going in such a hurry, faster than what we would go, faster than we would consider would be safe. But that's our story. We have no idea what their story is. So my question is always, what's it to you? And you can ask yourself, when you start making up stories, because that's what we do. There's the experience, and I've shared this before, and there's there's the actual experience, getting in a plane and flying. And we know that no matter, there's several, plane accidents that have happened in the last couple of months. But overall, it's the safest way to travel. And we get on the freeway and in our cars, behind the wheels, driving all the time. We have no thought about that. But many of us get on a plane and it starts taking off. Go, oh my God, how's it doing that? It's going to crash. The lightning is going to, all kinds of crazy stories that we have. And it's so safe. And so I want you to consider thinking about when you hear yourself telling stories, what's it to you? So this weekend, my daughter-in-law and my son, I shared with you a couple of weeks ago, maybe it was a month ago now, we had gone to this, it was called Life Surge. It was really a wonderful day, and they invited me to go. It was all day long at the big arena that's here now, whatever it's called. What is it? Dickey's. It was at Dickey's. It was really great. It was just big and wonderful music, great speakers. We just had a wonderful time. And when it was over, they invited you to another class to learn more about, because their whole thing is about that money is not evil. Because that's the thing that we, in the religious arena, have this whole idea that money is the root of all evil, and rich people won't get to heaven, and all this crazy nonsense. But the fact is that money is just energy like anything else. And if we want to have a great life, if we want to serve our lives, if we want to help other people, if we want to donate to Harmony Spiritual Center, the things that matter to us, you're going to need the energy of money to get that done. So anyway, so that's what that was about. And so they invited you to come to another class they were giving about how to do investments. They invest in the real estate, invest in marketing, whatever it was. And so I went to that for the weekend. And we were all supposed to go. We all signed up for it to go. But guess who was actually there? Okay? And so I was starting to make up stories about why they didn't come. But I don't know. I have no idea. So I said, you know what? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter why they're here. You're here. So just be here now. And so that's what happens when you're starting to tell stories. You are not in the moment, right? Enjoying why you chose to do what you chose to do. What brings you the most joy. And what always brings me the most joy is doing what Spirit tells me to do. And Spirit told me to sign up with this class with them. Now, he never said I was going to be there by myself. But that's okay. I signed up for it. I'm a woman of my word. That matters to me. And I showed up. So you're sitting there with, I think there were 6 or 8 of us at a table. And there are people you don't know. And so you end up just really getting to know people over the weekend. It was just wonderful, and they were funny and all that kind of stuff. But the stories, they were making up. Just before they even got there, they had researched it, researched what this all was going to be about. And then, of course, when you research something and you look at the reviews, which reviews do you actually lean on? The negative ones. And there's always going to be someone who wasn't happy with the outcome. Because why? They probably didn't do the work that they told you to do. So they're going to be unhappy and want to blame everybody. So that's what they were. So they're there. They made the choice to come. They made the choice to understand. But the whole time, all of them were talking about, they're just trying to get us to buy something. But whatever. And I said, you know what? I didn't say anything to them because that's their story. And I just thought, it doesn't matter what they're here to do. It matters what I'm here to do. Okay? That's all that matters. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Everyone's going to tell their story. But if you listen to them, then you're living their life. You're living their life, not your life. And so you get to decide what your life is all about, what matters, why you're showing up for whatever you decided to show up for, because the weekend is limited. I had a lot of choices. I wanted to go see my sister speak. She was also catering. My granddaughter's birthday was Friday night, so I wanted to, there was a lot going on this weekend. But I committed to going, and it's important to me to follow through with what I say I'm going to do. And I did learn a lot. Not a lot to make a decision, but not enough for me to start understanding there's more I need to know. That's all. That's all. So I don't need to buy into and listen to, and neither do you, the stories that other people tell. So when you find yourself making up stories, and we all will, there's nothing, I'm not saying you're not, because you will, but you can just ask yourself, what's it to me? What does it matter what anyone else is doing? What matters is what I'm doing. That's all that matters. And that's what's going to keep you on the track of your life and keep you happy in your life. So I said that I went out, I took my niece and my granddaughter, we went out for dinner in Addison at a place called Ida Claire's, which is a wonderful, Cajun, it's a scratch kitchen, and they make a lot of, so it's 2 names, it's a person's name, Ida Claire is her name, or is the name of the restaurant. And it's just a wonderful restaurant and great food. And so I took her out, and I said, okay, so you turned 21, right? She goes, I'm 25, Grandma. Oh, really? Oh, what happened to those 3 years? Oh. 4 years, really? Jesus. And I was thinking about when we were together, the time that we spent together. I've been with her since she was a baby. She's a beautiful girl. She's tall. Her dad's tall. She's tall. She's beautiful. She was the baby that when she was born, I called my sister and I said, oh, my God, she's so ugly. What am I going to do? I'm not kidding. It was just, she was the ugliest baby. And my sister said, stop acting crazy. It's your granddaughter. You'll be fine. And I'm like, we don't look like this. This must be coming from the other side of the family. We don't. Just craziness. You just got stories going on. But that's just the baby part. And probably just because she just came out of the mom's womb, she's all squished up. Of course she looked crazy. But she's beautiful. And so I was just thinking about different times that I've been with her. And she's had a bit of a rough life because her mother and father broke up when she was just a little one. And so she didn't see much of her father and felt a little abandoned by him. And so and so kids act out. That's how they get attention, right? They act out. And so she went to go live with her dad because his wife, as I shared some stories with my daughter-in-law, and she is all about education. And she makes, her kids are all graduating in college, just doing really great. My granddaughter I was so concerned about her. I know I've shared this with you before. This is a true story. I was so concerned about her that I told my son, listen, you're going to have to buy a home where she has an apartment in the basement somewhere, because I don't believe that she can live by herself. I just don't think she has the ability to live by herself. I really was concerned. And so he and his wife said, well, we're going to bring her and have her live with us. And because she's just that good, the wife, at making sure that kids do what they're supposed to be doing. Well, not only did my granddaughter do well, graduate high school, she got a scholarship for college. She graduated through college. She is now a nurse in McKinney. She moved out here to be with all of us, and that's what she does. So that's how her life went. But when I went to go see her, and she was really upset because she was living with her dad and stepmother, I guess, and the stepmother was being very fierce about how she had to do stuff. And I felt like, as a grandmother, I just needed to show her a little bit of love because she was feeling unloved at that point. And I wanted to show her some love. And so I guess the wife must have told my son, hey, tell your mom she can't be going in there cuddling her. So he came in to say, Mom, listen, we're trying to do some stuff. Look at the face. She's like, what? And you listen to that? I was trying to, go along with what they said, and and it's just one of the regrets that I have in my life. Nothing bad happened to her and all that, but I was a grandmother, and I should have stood my ground and gone, listen, you do what you want to do, but she's going to get some love from me. And if you need to boot me out, I'm taking her with me. So what do you want to do? But I didn't do that, and it's a regret that I have. And again, she's a beautiful girl. She's growing up. We have a great relationship. So it didn't have a long-lasting effect, but I still remember me not standing and doing what I knew was mine to do. To not listen to the stories they were telling, which were, fairly true stories, but that was their story. It wasn't my story. That's why it's important for you to understand and to know what's it to you, in a good way or a negative way, just knowing what's this situation, whatever you're doing, what does it matter to you? Be very clear about that so that you know which way to go, and you don't. We don't want to live our lives with a bunch of regrets. You're going to have some. You're going to have some because that's just life. And we don't always know in the moment what's the best thing to do. We do the best we can. We have our values. We want to stand by them. We say, what's it to me? Here's another question that I ask myself a lot. What would love do here? What would love do here? And just sit back and breathe and let Spirit tell you that. So we have lots of ways in which we can live the life that we want to live. What we believe, what New Thought, Science of Mind, Unity, Divine, all of the New Thought churches which believe in that we are individualized expressions of the one love. We believe that we have control over our lives to an extent, and that we decide. We watch our words. We watch our thoughts. We get really clear about who we are, and we try to live that life. And it's not easy because I would have had to face my son and say, nope, not doing that, okay? You have to face people and go, nope, you can do that. I'm not judging, which I am, but I'm not judging. This is what I'm saying. I'm not judging what you're doing, but this is what I'm going to do because this is who I am and this is what I can live with. So what can you live with? Experience versus story. What's the story you're telling about the experience? It shapes the experience. And if you want the experience to have a good outcome or you want to feel good about it, you've got to watch what you're thinking about it, watch what you're doing in it, and make sure that the intention you have for giving your time up to be in this situation is worth it. And that is all. And that's all we can do. And even if it doesn't actually go the way you want, you have that experience of having known, I can decide. I can decide what I want to do here. I can decide who I am here. I can decide to show up as Pjae here and feel very good about that. Let go of what ends up happening because I don't have control over that. I don't have control over what other people do. I don't have control over what other people need to learn. I have no control over that. But what we have control over is what we decide to do, how we decide to stand in our truth and know that Spirit is always in the middle of that. And asking ourselves, what's it to me? And what would love do here? And so it is.